IVM.
Hey, if you like this show, then you should definitely check out another show on the IVM podcast network called Paisa Vaisa. It's a show hosted by Anupam Gupta that will clear all your personal finance doubts, from mutual funds to loans to SIPs. New episodes are out every Monday.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of IVM Likes. My name is Surbhi. I've had a cold, which is why I sound like this. No, my name is not Surbhi, but Surbhi is in the studio with me. My name is Abbas with me.
That's a very good impression of me. That's exactly how I sound.
I have Alika.
Hello.
And Surbhi.
Hi.
The real Surbhi. That's how Surbhi actually sounds.
The real Surbhi. Please stand up.
No,
I
keep sitting.
cannot.
Alright, so as usual and like any other IVM Likes episode, we're going to be giving you our pop culture recommendations in the first half. And on the second half of this show, we're going to talk about how we cope when our favorite television shows get over.
No way.
Not well.
No.
Yeah.
That's really heavy stuff.
I actually have some opinions about that, which I'll talk in the second half, of course. But let's start with our recommendations first. So, Alika, what do you have for us today?
Okay, great. I'll start. So I'm not going to be recommending my usual dose of fantasy stuff, but I'm going to be recommending a podcast which I learned about super recently.
Is it a fantasy podcast?
No, it's not.
It's pretty real.
Yeah, it's a super real podcast. I'm going to be recommending Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Ooh.
Dan Carlin is an American political commentator, and he's been doing podcasts professionally for a little while. He used to be a radio host, so, he speaks super well. It's very clear. And he's got a couple of podcasts. I think one is called Common Sense.
Okay.
And the one I'm listening to is called Hardcore History. So basically, I have to mention that not all his podcasts are free. You do have to pay for some of them, but he's got a bunch of them free on his website and on anywhere you get podcasts.
Yeah.
You can listen to it wherever. But the ones which are free are so good. So he does this really deep dive into particular historical events which happened in the world and, which affected human history. And he does a very interesting deep dive into it. So the one I'm currently listening to is called Blueprint for Armageddon. And it basically deals with World War I. How events, not just a single event, how multiple events did this crazy coincidence and all happened together at the same time to get this boulder rolling of World War One. And he doesn't do it in a very dry historical way. He makes it extremely interesting because he'll tell you a little bit about the mindset of this country, what they were thinking and how they were feeling boxed in, and then how when this country made this move they started feeling even more panicked, which is why they made this move to which started the war and things like that. He also does a lot of quotes from very famous historians of hereby past, I guess, and also from historical figures. Like he does quote a lot of memoirs and things from soldiers who fought in the war and things. It is a long podcast. You are getting a lot of bang for your non-existent
buck.
Yeah, for the free one. So Blueprint of Armageddon, each episode, it's divided into 6 parts, I think. 5 or 6 parts, whichever. And each episode is about 3 hours, you guys.
Oh, man.
It's 3 to 4 hours. And it's a deep dive, but it is so interesting. And he also explains a lot about the horrors that everyone was facing, but not in a sensationalist way. Not to be like, they were doing these terrible things and, it was god-awful. But he says it in a very... these are the facts way.
Right.
But also there's a lot of empathy coming through as well. So it's very interesting.
And does he stay objective, or does he give you the American point of view or the British point of view?
Well, he is American, but he does try to stay objective. He does show at least in Blueprint for Armageddon, he does show Germany's point of view. That this is kind of what they were thinking when they started this.
Right.
And this is how the French reacted and then how the British reacted.
Okay.
So he's not taking sides or anything. And he knows that, history is a very colored topic.
Yeah.
people who are the victors write it,
Yeah.
right? So he does try to disassemble it a bit and say like,
Nice.
we know that they did this, but this was a reason why they did it. It didn't justify why they did it, but this is a reason why they did this thing.
Okay.
What's the structure like? Like how Malcolm Gladwell does it when he also interviews people during the whole podcast. So does he also interview, or is it like a monologue?
No, it's not an interview. It is a monologue with like quotes and stuff through it.
Oh. Wait.
Like actually authentic quotes from news
Yes.
clips? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
From like
Nice.
news clips, from like memoirs, from autobiographies, from diaries, from love letters.
Okay.
It's all very interesting.
So is it like each episode a new topic, or does he take one and then does a series of episodes on them?
So he does single topic episodes as well, I
Okay.
believe, but the ones which I have listened to so far are a series.
Okay.
And he starts each episode focusing on a different part, so it doesn't feel like you're just starting from the end of the
Right.
last one. So like he started one of the episodes talking about propaganda, and then he started the next episode talking about what tactics people were using to recruit people into joining this war.
Okay.
Because nobody wanted to join once they
Right.
heard about the massacres.
Right.
So there are a couple of he segues very neatly into a topic, so
Got it.
it's very very easily listenable, very easy to listen to rather. It is heavy, but it is extremely informative. I highly recommend
How
it.
long does it take for you to get into it? Like if that's like 15 minutes or like 20 minutes when I'm really into it?
I actually got interested within the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh, this
Not
guy
bad,
knows
no.
what he's talking about, and it seems really interesting. Let me give it a go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's it called again?
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
All right, I'll go next.
What?
Yeah.
When you host, you don't go next. You go
Of
last.
course I do, because I want you all to listen to it.
Abbas, can
If I go last, then
first?
both of you will just be... Alright, cool, I'll go last. You go next.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to recommend a really fun app, guys.
Okay. It better be really fun.
Oh my god, this
Yeah.
is really fun. I've been spending hours in this app, and I don't even mind it. You know how everyone's like, oh, stop being on your phone. I'm just like, no, not when you have this app. This app is called Over, OVER, Over. I think Abbas and Alika know what I'm talking about because I was showing my
yeah.
creations
Yeah,
to
I've
you
seen your
guys.
creations, but I didn't know you used this app to make it.
Oh,
I thought
yeah?
you were just talented.
I am talented, and also this app is a lot of work. I mean, you have to obviously put your artistic side to it.
Right.
So it's a very fun app. I mean, again, it's a paid app, but a couple of templates are free.
Okay.
But I'm actually considering buying it, dude, because
How much does it cost?
it's $2,600 for like a whole year, though.
Okay.
Which is what, like, I keep thinking if it's worth, because it's not like a monthly subscription if I get bored, because sometimes I do
It's
get
a
bored.
one-time payment.
Yeah, like you
For a
have
year.
to for a whole year.
It's not bad.
I know, but like it's a great app because it has like a bunch of cool templates, and a lot of times I just put selfies up on my Instagram, and I'm like, how about make them artistic?
So you have put pictures made on
I
this
have.
on your Instagram.
Yes, I put
Okay.
one of them. I'm at surbhi.bagga, guys. You should go like
Yeah.
it. And
Also
be-
check out what Over does
Yeah.
on Surbhi's Instagram.
Yes.
You should comment. What's the comment that everyone comments on YouTube? Came here after
Surbhi, IVM
likes.
Likes, send me here.
IVM Likes, send me here. Do that. I'm at Surbhi.bagga. And also check out this really cool app. It's called Over. It's on
But give
iOS.
us like a short run through. Like,
Okay.
you have any picture you can use.
You
to-
can use any photo. So I got into it because I had a really fun selfie and I wanted to put it up on my Instagram, and just selfies looks kind of lame. So I'm like, let's just add a little. You can add a lot of like different elements to make one big picture.
Right.
So you can add a frame to it. You can add a plant to it, you can add a golden leaf to it. So whatever your aesthetic is, whatever your Instagram
Okay.
thing.
So you can make it like a collage as
You
well?
can make a collage, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And you can also, if you end up buying it, you can use their stock images. They have a bunch of stock images of like ice cream and like cool looking pineapples and shit. It looks damn
Sounds-
neat.
Still won't pay
Exact-
2,600 for a pineapple.
Dude, but for a whole year, I feel like it's not a bad thing. I was actually considering it. And this is very good for Alika, I guess. Good to throw
I don't know
Alika out
what
of a
you're
job.
insinuating,
I mean,
Surbhi.
I'm just saying, I can do this on my own now. I don't need.
Alika don't need no filters.
You know, it's okay. Now I'll just start taking over hosting your podcast.
Ooh. So what's the app called again?
It's called Over, OVER. It's available on iOS and it's available on Android.
All right, so finally we come to my
Yeah,
recommendation.
fine, Abbas.
Yeah.
You take it away.
I'm surprised nobody recommended a movie because before we came in, I thought both of at least you had a movie in
Yeah,
mind.
but it
Surbhi.
feels like like it's already been
Yeah, it's already
recommended.
been done. All right, so I'll do the needful. I'm quickly gonna recommend a movie. It's called American Made. It was made in 2017.
This sounds familiar to me.
It stars Tom Cruise. It's one of those films, rare films that star Tom Cruise, but it like came and went without making much impact.
No,
But
I now remember why it sounded familiar.
Why?
Because my parents really wanted to go watch it because of Tom Cruise.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they like it?
No, they didn't watch it. I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, so it's directed by this guy called Doug Liman. It's based on a real life story of a guy called Barry Seal, who had a very interesting
wait,
life.
I heard this guy.
You have?
Is it that guy who saved the... I don't know.
No, he didn't really save anything.
Okay.
Anyway, so Tom Cruise plays Barry Seal, who's a commercial airline pilot in the late 60s.
Yeah, he's the guy who landed safely, na? He's the guy who
Well,
made
there's a lot of
safe landing.
backstory to that. So what
Wow, I
happened
can't
was...
Wait. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god, people are guessing.
Is this guy a pilot who flew these really difficult runs from South America?
Yes, that's the
I
guy.
saw that movie. No.
You did?
Yeah, my parents dragged me to see this movie and I fell asleep in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had fever that day.
Okay. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. So, very interesting life he had. He was a commercial airline pilot in the late 60s. Then he was taken in by the CIA
Right.
to actually go fly over these dangerous zones where apparently communists were training guerrilla fighters and to take their pictures, all right? And then he would give the pictures to the CIA. And one day his plane actually crashes into one of these, cartel zones. And the cartels are like, yeah, we know you fly over us and you take our pictures. We see you every time you do. But we have a counter offer to make from this. How much are you being paid by the CIA? And he's like, this is the figure. And they're like, we'll pay you double if you take cocaine from us to Miami and drop it, okay? And he becomes a double agent. He's for CIA, he's clicking their pictures, but for them, he's doing cocaine. Then he gets involved with Pablo Escobar, and he actually gets arrested in Cuba for possession of drugs. Now the CIA comes and bails him out. And they make another counter offer to him.
Oh my God.
Where they're like, we're going to give you and your family a place to stay. And by this time, the whole Cuba-America relations are going, they are at their peak.
Yeah.
So he says, we'll give you a house and a really big airfield where planes which are going into Cuba will come and use that as an airbase.
Ooh.
And while this is happening...
You can...
Escobar gets in contact with him again because once you get into the cartel, you can't go back. And he's like, I want you to fly in guerrilla communist fighters into America and then, release them onto American soil. So it's really, and he's making shit ton amounts of money from both sides. Right? The CIA is paying him, the cartel is paying him, all of this.
There's this one scene where he's just like throwing money around in his house and I was like,
he physically didn't know where to store the stacks of money that he had. That was his biggest problem.
Yeah.
So he gets squished from both sides actually, and eventually the thing goes to the White House, and it's very interesting how the film ends. So the reason I really like this film is Tom Cruise isn't playing the super amazing
like nothing
detective.
can happen to him.
He's actually vulnerable. He actually gets squeezed from both sides.
Yeah.
And we see a very vulnerable side of the guy who's used to saving the world. So check it out. It's a very well-made film. It keeps you entertained throughout. It's on...
All right, Abbas.
It's on iTunes. You can find it on iTunes. You can rent it on iTunes.
Who recommended this movie to you?
There was a list of underrated Tom Cruise performances. when
What a specific list.
why were you looking at this list?
Because
Abbas?
when I actually heard it on a podcast, there's a podcast called Film Spotting, and when the last Mission Impossible came out, they did an episode on Tom Cruise, and they listed out films that he doesn't get as much credit for as he should. So one of them was American Made.
Everyone thinks of him as the Salman Khan of Bollywood.
So that was my recommendation for this week. It's a film called American Made. Alright, so very quickly let's recap. Alika, you recommended?
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History Podcast.
Surbhi?
I recommended the app Over.
And I recommended a film called American Made. At this point, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about how
Some
we
heavy
cope.
stuff.
Some heavy stuff. How we cope with the loss
Bring your tissues.
of our TV shows. See you on the other side of this break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on IVM Podcast. If you aren't following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. On Instagram, we've been doing an interesting thing recently. What we're trying to do is whenever a listener is listening, they take a screenshot of what they're listening to, they make a comment, and they tag us on it. And we're reposting that on all of our stories. So, I mean, like, if you want to get on our feed, then please do tag us. And otherwise, if you want to see what other people are listening, then go and check out the Instagram account and you can take a look at that. On the scene and the unseen, Amit Verma talks to writer Gyan Prakash about his new book about Indira Gandhi and the emergency. On the Pragati podcast, we have a 2-episode special that demystifies the ongoing economic conflict between the US and China. Last week, we launched a brand new Hindi podcast called Cinemaya. It's hosted by Swati Bakshi and our first guest is Nandita Das. She discusses her journey as a woman filmmaker in a male-dominated industry. On Varta Lab, Naveen and Akash talk to comedian Nivedita Prakasam and remember their favorite heckling stories. On our Kannada podcast, Thale Arate, the host discuss how the Kannada language and culture is faring on the far side of the world. On Paisa Vaisa, CEO of Edelweiss Asset Management, Radhika Gupta joins Anupam to discuss asset allocation and its importance. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
I miss you.
Come back.
Welcome back to IVM Likes. We're discussing the loss of our favorite TV shows. We're discussing how to cope with our favorite series or movies. Movies not really, but like a TV series ending. And what do we do post that?
Even book series. It's gut-wrenching to turn that last page and see that half-page para of whatever. And then you read the end at the bottom and it's like, okay, you've all grown up. And I've not.
What have you... Yeah. Abbas, tell me.
Here's my thing with it. Like, it's not like I haven't felt really sad at shows ending, but we live in a time where everything gets a spin-off, everything gets a sequel. Everything eventually comes back. Like, I remember being really sad when the Harry Potter series came to an end and I was like, oh my god. When the books ended, I took solace in the fact that at least there are 3 more movies to come. When the movies were done, I'm like, this is it. It's done.
It's the end.
And the next thing I know, a year later, J.K. Rowling was like, well, Fantastic Beasts is gonna come and this is gonna come and that is... I'm like, now I actually want to leave that world. I'm like, no, I want closure.
You want to go away.
Similarly, I saw Breaking Bad, the last episode, I'm like, wow, what a ride. I'm never going to have this
and
ride again.
Better Call Saul.
And Better Call Saul comes in and now it's equally good. So you know, I'm like, now we just stay in a time where nothing goes away.
But you know what? I agree with this point. But a lot of times, Breaking Bad was it was good for everyone.
Right.
Like, what if you particularly like a show? Say Lost, and
Sure.
nobody else likes
It's
it.
a good. I like how you said Lost because so what I did was, I finished Lost and I actually cried. I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna. So what I did was I actually went out and bought the DVD box set just for the extras. So that I can see the interviews, I can see the behind the scenes stuff. And Lost had like tons of extras, right? So
everything that they originally planned but then changed.
Yeah. So here I have a process. When I end a show, I instantly go to the internet. I read as many reviews and recaps and whatever else people have written about it. Mm-hmm. I go to the Reddits and read the discussions that people have done. And once you do this, you'll come across so many things. Like, I didn't even know Lost did like short 5-minute episodes between the seasons. So I go on YouTube. I watch as much as the stuff I can from there. And then if it's an old show, like when I ended Buffy, I know they did a 10-year reunion at the Paley Center. Okay, so I went and watched the reunion.
You did?
Of the whole thing. So yeah, you keep doing that and you basically watch. And the other thing you can do is check out other stuff that the same creator has done. Like,
that is true. That's something I do.
Yeah.
But what about you, Alika? What really left you brokenhearted after it went away?
I'm trying to think because there have been a lot.
The recent
mostly cartoons. But like a lot of, especially in previous days, when you didn't have the chance to binge something, you watch a series you'd watch once a week. Or even there were daily episodes of whatever cartoon that you used to watch. So it was a very routine thing.
Yeah.
And then when it ends, you're just like,
oh, now what do I do with this time?
What do I do with that time slot?
This happens. I think this happens with people who watch stuff off TV. Like my mom.
Yeah.
Like my mom gets really upset when like one of her series like, oh, they're taking a break for a month. Or like when Big Boss ends, I'm like, what do we do for this time slot?
Exactly, because it becomes a routine for you to do that.
And it's like, it's that little half an hour of joy and then it's gone. And then you're like... I have nothing left
I have
for
nothing
me.
left.
Yeah, but nowadays because we have internet, so I have a tendency to go online and listen to the soundtrack so that I can cry all over again.
Same. I feel like that's what I do, because what a show that really left me like not, but like I kind of cried when it ended was The Office. And now I do reruns of it all the time. Like even though when I finished the first series for the first time, I was really like not devastated, but I was like, what do I do with my time? But now it's so easy to keep going back.
Can you just do a rerun right after it finishes?
I could go back to the first season, right? Because it doesn't.
I can't.
You
No,
feel
neither
like
can I.
you cannot.
I need
need,
some
like-
time,
You need some time.
space.
Yeah.
I need like a
That's
6-month
true.
break before I can do a rerun of anything.
A 6-month break.
Yeah. Like I've just finished
Or maybe
watching.
then I watch a similar mockumentary style thing. Like then I
Yeah, that's
started
why
watching a Parks and Rec.
I instantly went to Parks and Rec because I was like, and Modern Family because
Yeah.
they both were about characters talking to the camera.
Also, those are very like these 3 shows are kind of optimistic. You know, like
Yeah.
I would not do a rerun of a Mindhunter. Like
Okay.
that's a
Right,
complex.
heavy show, yeah.
It's a heavy
Yeah,
show. I would
yeah.
not be like, let's sit down and watch that show again.
yeah.
But this show has like a thing that makes you want to like look at it again or watch it again and see if you missed out any joke.
That's true.
Like even 30 Rock, you can keep going back to.
That's true. But many a times if you, like you said, if you instantly go back to some show that you've just ended,
It's too raw.
it's too, what we don't realize is that we've seen those characters mature over time. So when you go back to a season 2 of Buffy, you're like, they were so stupid and the set pieces were so cheap. Why did I like it back then? Because it improved over time.
Then it
So,
kind of tarnishes your
Yeah.
enjoyment.
Original memory.
I think
Yeah.
if you have to wait for the nostalgia to like
Go
Kick
away.
in.
Yeah, to kick in.
Yeah.
Because if you start watching it 2 days after finishing it, then it's like, whoa, I just finished it.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for it to be nostalgic enough.
You guys ever had a show where it finished and you were like, that's it. I'm not going. You're glad you finished it, but you were like, nah, that's it.
I think that was probably lost for me because I did finish watching it. But I was like, yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I might still at some point watch like the first 2 seasons because they were good.
Yeah.
And the rest was like,
I
okay,
did
don't
not
care.
finish this whole show called, what's that? How to Get Away with
Murder. Yeah, I spoke about
Man,
it.
I finished one season. I was like, I'm so glad I sat through this. But I have no energy to watch the whole show again.
For
I
me-
find it difficult to watch shows like Jessica Jones again because even though I really liked it, it was like, I'll have to go through the whole thing again.
I know.
I kind of get that,
Because
yeah.
what's another show? You. I feel like I have not even finished You, but I can tell once it's done, I will never look back at it because it's so manipulative and gives you like it tells you like it's what's the word for it? Like when it like a red herring. Okay, like the viewers like, oh, obviously this is going to happen, and suddenly it does not happen, and that kind of makes me feel like I'm so naive to fall for this. So I will never go back to that show again.
Okay.
There were
Just let it
2
go.
shows I finished when I was like, I'm kind of glad they're over. One was How I Met Your Mother, and the other was Entourage.
Did you finish How I Met Your
I finished
Mother?
How I Met Your Mother. I've
Wow.
watched whatever 260.
Did you
odd
also finish The
episodes.
Big Bang Theory?
No. Not
We
yet.
don't speak of that.
We don't speak. This is the first time.
And the other was Entourage, because Entourage is such a hollow show. Like there's nothing to take away from that show. You just saw it because
Community?
it was. And I never got into
Did you
Community.
get a
I haven't finished watching it. I have to mention though, it's really fun to rewatch a show once it's finished, especially if it was like a mystery show. So because then when you rewatch it, you kind of catch the first hints of
Yeah,
foreshadowing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah,
but I
that's
still
true.
need a little bit of time. Like I
Yeah.
need some time to process, to grieve. To sit and put on the music and cry buckets one day in
But
the
you know what?
evening.
In this time, you're also looking their Instagram and you're checking what they're doing. So, like, I feel this is the time when you actually start this is your fan time.
Yeah.
Like, you look them up and you see what they're doing now. You watch their movies. You like,
This
you
only
keep an eye on
works
what they're
for
doing.
live action stuff. It does not quite work for cartoons.
Oh man.
No, even for cartoons, you can always
You can
follow
look
the
at the voice.
creators,
Yeah,
right?
the voice.
Yeah, I
The
do.
guys, yeah.
But then they are very tight-lipped. They never say anything until like 2 days before the show is released.
That's true. But like, for example, Dave Filoni, the guy who did all the Star Wars animated stuff, if you follow his stuff, you'll actually find the common themes. Though the stories are really new, the characters are really new, but that inherent sense of optimism and adventure is there in all of his work. So that's always amazing.
Nice.
You know what? But I was just thinking about how, I remember Modern Family came around when not everybody was on Netflix or had a Netflix.
Yeah.
Is Modern Family on Netflix?
It's on Hotstar.
It's on Hotstar. So like we didn't have streaming services that that had the show. So when I finished like a show, but now that it's on a like it's a easier thing to go back and rerun it because now you want to see that in HD. Like,
do you get other people in to watch the show? Are you one of those who wants to convert people and be like, you got to watch this?
Yeah. Also,
I feel like that's the whole point of this show.
No, sure, but once you've seen an entire series, would you watch the series again? With someone. Yeah,
I can watch like a particular episode just to sell it to them, and then I'm on my own.
I do like watching it with someone, but then I'm also looking at that person to see if they're enjoying it. And then if they're not, I'll be like so upset. Then
true.
it's like it's a little bit of a balancing act. Do you ever go after you finish watching a show? Do you ever go and check to see if everyone else liked the ending? Otherwise, like, you know, if people are like, that sucked, that was such a bad ending, and you feel really bad because you enjoyed it.
Well, actually, I've never reached the ending of a show in real time. Like, I've always watched it later. So the consensus is already out there.
Except Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, I'm making
that'll happen this year. So, You think just off topic, do you think they've told George R.R. Martin how they're going to end the show?
No, George R.R. Martin must have told them, no? He's the writer.
The show has gone ahead of the books and it's taken a wildly different turn from where the books are.
The books are very different because I don't watch the show at all. I've read the books, but now I've thrown them away because I don't like them. Sorry. I'm not going to go
that's another example. You've read more than like 3,000 pages of a series just to end it.
Yeah, but
just to keep up.
Here's the point. Now, if the new book comes out, that means I have to go back to the beginning and read everything because I don't remember anything.
Right.
All I remember is that he's got a whole bunch of red shirts throughout his book. And everyone just randomly dies and I don't know who these people are. While reading it, I was like, was this guy affiliated with House Tyrell or House Targaryen? I have no idea. So I'm not going to invest my time to reread it. But I have read it once.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit about where the show goes and it's wildly different.
Would you recommend reading the book to other people?
No.
Okay.
See, it depends. The books as well as the TV show, it's the exact opposite of the whole Tolkien fantasy. There is no good guys versus bad guys. Everyone is just out to look for themselves and along the way they might do something for someone else. Even brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, everyone is just looking for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not a happy place to... Westeros is not a happy fantasy
Also, again,
place.
another show that I won't go back to and watch again. I have a feeling like Game of Thrones is also something I can sit through once.
Yeah.
Like, be involved in all the hype, like get all the social media out. And I cannot unless it's like a summary of what I can read up on it, like the previous scenes again. But I can't sit through and watch it again because it's, I
actually can.
You can?
Purely for the production value.
Maybe.
It's like there's no other TV show like Game of Thrones on TV.
Maybe because I feel like I don't care about production value. I need an optimistic show to go back to. I cannot
that
go
Game
back
of Thrones is not.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where like you have finished a TV show, like suppose you finished The Office, but somebody else is just starting it, and you just want to be, want to be in that space.
You're in for
first
a ride of a lifetime.
Like what's it like to watch it for the first time?
I did that recently because I finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and then Sharanya started watching it and I was like,
I wish I was there.
Kind of jealous.
But what's it called again?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Is it on now?
It is on Netflix.
Wait, I guess I need to start this.
It's the best anime. You will never enjoy another anime as much as you enjoy that. This is a very broad statement. Please don't hold me to it. But it is a really, really good anime. You should watch it.
That's a recommendation.
She's recommended it on an episode.
I did.
Producer should know.
Recommendation is what I said for this this thing. God, Abbas. I'm literally on the verge of crying in your... What else?
What about when you finish a show and you already know there's a spin-off out there? Do you jump to the show instantly?
Nah.
No?
I'm trying to remember a show which has that spin-off.
Like I finished Buffy and I instantly wanted to watch Angel. I'm like,
I'd do it. I'd wait like maybe a week and then I'd start. Okay. Because I still want to process everything, get it all out of my system.
Is Buffy the only example? I can't...
For a spin-off?
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy had a spin-off.
Wait, is Better Call Saul a spin-off?
Better Call Saul is a spin-off.
I haven't seen it. Again, Breaking Bad was such a heavy show. I did not have the energy to watch another...
Does Punisher count as a spin-off of Daredevil?
Kind of, yeah. Punisher is a spin-off of Daredevil. There are so many shows within. Then, like I mentioned, sometimes they even do serious spin-offs of sitcoms. That has also happened. So yeah.
But then it's always like in the
Joey was a spin-off of Friends.
Oh,
I watched
wait,
3 episodes.
Is
of
Young
that.
Sheldon a spin-off
Yes,
of Big
it's
Bang
of
Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
God,
And I've heard Young Sheldon is actually
it's
way
awful.
better than...
What?
It is?
It's also
Okay, I haven't
equally
seen it.
awful, man.
Wow.
Same science jokes.
But yeah, so there are tons of spin-offs out there of shows.
So if you're really...
But do you enjoy spin-offs that much? Because it's like it's never dealing with the main character.
That's true.
again.
Yeah,
I
it's
Your
like-
enjoyed
fave is
Angel.
never there.
I enjoyed Angel. There are so many spin-offs of Law and Order. Law and Order, this special victims unit, this cyber unit and all of that. But again, depends on how they handle the character which they're giving a spin-off to.
Yeah, because it's always that one random character nobody quite likes.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Wait,
I
so
don't know why.
last question.
Yes.
So like some shows, obviously, after they get done, they leave you like with a heartache
Yeah.
to what to do. But
Yeah.
what are some shows that once like a show that ended and you were like, okay, I'm done. Like
Dexter, like
Dexter.
I said, yeah. I was like,
what
done.
about you, Alika?
I have to think about
See,
this.
that'll happen when the quality eventually declines of the show, where you're like, I'm just watching it because I was an original fan and I'm sticking by, but I would rather just it get over. And a little bit of it, I mean, I know if you agree or disagree, but I thought the last 2 seasons of The Office were also like way off. Once Michael Scott left, I was like, yeah, now I want to be done. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of did not feel that way because I had nothing else going on in my life that
Maybe.
time. I was like, I'll watch anything.
I have a question. Is that sitcom ER still going on?
No, but Grey's Anatomy is. It's
No,
in its-
ER is different.
ER is done for, I think.
I think so, because
Yeah.
I do remember watching a lot of it, and I was pretty done by the end of it. I was like, it's been good. It's been real, guys. It's been fun. I'm out.
I've got to go now.
Yeah, this is a lot of medical stuff that I
Yeah.
have imbued now.
It ended in 2009.
Yeah, I think I must have
It
watched
has
it.
331
I was just
episodes.
thinking about,
I
now...
don't think I watched 300 episodes.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, now how we know about this show is ending or this show is going to end by this season. Remember that time when we would watch stuff on TV and we'd have no idea when this will
Yeah.
end?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember watching Hannah Montana.
Oh my god.
Dude, it was a proper TV show. It
Yeah.
came on Disney and then it had like seasons and then Hannah would Miley would grow up and become like a rock star and then she'll have like affairs or like different things happen every season. But again, that was a show that I had no idea when it would end or when suddenly Disney will just take it off. So that was, I can't believe I've grown up in such a tough environment.
Yeah.
But I did not
You
know
when
when
shows were cancelled.
Yeah.
And you
would
didn't
not
realize.
know.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Like Derek, do you remember this show called This Is Life with Derek?
No.
Oh my god, if any of the listeners have seen that show, because very few people have seen that show, and it was a great show. And it was so R-rated for Disney.
Oh
This is why
my
I
God.
loved it. It was called This Is Life with Derek. Very hot, Derek, this guy. Yeah, so that show was off air. Suddenly, I would watch it every day at 6 p.m. and then suddenly it was off air.
Yeah, I have an example of Pushing Daisies. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
the
I've heard about
grandfather
it.
one.
Yeah.
It's super good. It's really weird. It's super bright and fun. But I think it got cancelled in the second season because of the writer's strike. And they didn't just cancel it. They gave it the weirdest ending ever. It was like, it was going along fine. It was in its second season. And then the last 3 episodes was just like, something weird happened. We have to solve this massive thing. And I was like, what is happening? Everything feels weird and wrong and strange. And then it just ended. And
Yeah.
all the plot points were still floating about. And it just ended.
You almost described what I felt about Heroes. I thought this writer's strike deeply affected that show as well. The first season was amazing. Second season, the first half is good. And then the writer's strike happened. It comes back and it's just a different show altogether.
Yeah.
Like,
It hurt, man.
It hurt.
It was like I don't feel like I got closure for this show.
Did you see Heroes Reborn, the reboot that
No.
they did?
Was
I
it
again
good?
saw 3 episodes of it, and again, first 2 episodes good. It's going somewhere. Third episode onwards is just anywhere, anything,
Okay.
anywhere is happening.
I had issues with Heroes because at my age back then I thought it was a ripoff of X-Men and I was deeply
Kind
loyal
of
to
was,
X-Men.
yeah.
I was deeply loyal to X-Men. Like I would not watch any other mutant powered thing.
But do you think, say you did not end on good terms with the show.
Yeah.
But when the show wins an award, do you still root for it? Like, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd do it.
Like, it wins an award, then you're like, I've put in my time.
I'd rather it be a show that I know
Yeah.
So then I feel like,
then
I was smart while watching this show.
Yeah, that's true.
My choices were vindicated.
Because nowadays I only watch a movie or a show after it's won an award, and then it's like, oh, cool, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But like,
It's nice to watch it before and be like, I
Yeah,
knew where the show was
So
going.
I
was
saw
the
it,
original
yeah.
fan.
I knew this was destined for great things. Yeah.
Alright, that was our episode for today. If you guys have any tips to let us know how we should get over shows that have left us, how you get over or cope with shows that have left a little too soon maybe, you can write into us. You can reach out to us at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can reach out to me personally on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Abbas Momin. Alika, where can one find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CapeFoxAlex.
And Surbhi?
You can find me on Instagram at surbhi.bagga, and you can also tweet to me at smalltalkpolice.
And you can send her fan art of
please.
using over
the app and
Over
hashtag
the-
it made with over and tag me.
Yeah, and don't forget to write IVM Likes sent me here under the in the comments. All right, we'll see you next week on a brand new episode of IVM Likes. Till then, goodbye.
Bye.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, everybody. We have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM Podcast app, or wherever you get your podcast from.